Actually, I'll start. So, this
you.
is the MD Senior Living Academy, and we often invite people from different backgrounds in senior assisted living in this housing space, and also operations or marketing. So we're joined today by Jennifer Ellsworth, who's recently joined our own team at MD Senior Living in terms of being our marketing guru and director. Within the few short months that she's joined us, she's made some tremendous headwaves. She's just really rocked our boat in such a good way, and we're really excited to have her on. I wanted her to give her own experience, kind of her background, her story, but also, most importantly, the tips and strategies she employs to help market these homes, and what you guys can be doing as you're thinking about starting your own homes or growing it out beyond that. Marketing and occupancy are a huge part of this senior housing in terms of making sure you're profitable and keeping your operations going. I mean, it's true for any business in terms of bringing people to the table. And as Dr. Mel says, she is truly a rock star. So we can't wait to hear for what she has to say. So I'm going to put myself on mute. Jennifer, I'll let you take the reins, and then when you want me to start the presentation, let me know, and I'll guide it.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sindel, and thank you, Mel, for your little comment there. That was so sweet. I've been in this industry for about 12 years now, and I can't ever see myself in another industry after this. Just helping people is so huge, and there's so many facets to this. I was a huge, I absolutely just loved senior living communities, and to be honest, while I was there, I always thought, why would anybody go to a RAL? When they have this big cruise ship, this, all of these things around them, and I soon realized that they didn't have the eyes, hands, and ears on people like you would in a RAL. And so I quickly moved my father from a big kind of a cruise ship is what they would call them, senior community, to a RAL. And the differences in him were amazing. Picking up on baseline things that were just small little things that nobody else would have been able to pick up on in a senior living community, because they have so many different caretakers coming in and out, or caregivers coming in and out. And so now I think, why would anybody go to a senior living community? And I couldn't be happier working with MD Senior Living during my tours as the marketing director. And when calls come in, I always let them know that we are physician owned, and that just perks up a lot of interest. And I have to tell you that is my lead in, and people really feel confident coming into that, and moving mom and dad into one of our homes because of that. So I guess without further ado, we can go ahead and start a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation here.
All right, let me pull that up.
So this again is just presented by myself and as a marketing director for MD Senior Living.
And Jennifer, do you want to just talk a little bit about your experience and background in the
Sure.
that you worked in previously?
Absolutely. So I started out volunteering for a very large community called Senior Resource Group, and they're out of California. And I was doing some work with the Vatican at the time for 4 years. So I was presenting some art talks, and they actually adopted my art series with the Senior Resource Group, and we held that monthly, and it was kind of a fun thing because I was able to pull galleries and museums in to our talks and our speeches, and that generated a lot of interest. And during one of my trips to Rome, my father needed to be placed, so I didn't know what to do. He was in Oregon. So I called a place for mom. They placed him, and fast forward about a year and a half after that, I thought, gosh, I really am tired of traveling, and thought maybe I want to do something in senior living. So I contacted my original advisor, and she had remembered me. And I went to work for a place for mom for 4 years, and I oversaw 7 states. And I worked for my home office, placing people, and it was absolutely wonderful. But then after about 4 years, I realized that I'm a little bit of an extrovert, and I really wanted to be out in the community. So I went to work for a company on a national basis for community awareness for a company called Morningstar. And they're quickly expanding all over the US, and then COVID hit. So we weren't traveling. So I stayed kind of boots on the ground in one of their communities, and was there for a little over a year, and loved it. But then I was offered a position with another company called Live Generations, which is a fabulous company, smaller senior living. Worked there as a director, marketing director, and I knew one of the owners with MD Senior Living. Had worked with him for years. Had sent lots of people to live in his homes through a place for mom, and we ended up reaching out to one another. And here I am, and I couldn't be happier.
Fantastic.
Yes, yeah. So just kind of rolling right into our PowerPoint here, just kind of touching on the marketing piece a little bit and how important that is for your RAL. And a lot of RALs are owned by family businesses, people that have even retired and thought, we could turn our large home or add on to it or buy another home and turn it into an income producing, venue for our family. But a lot of these families really aren't in the business world. They don't understand the marketing end of it. It's kind of word of mouth, if you will. And so I think the biggest thing is really understanding fundamentally how to get the information out there in terms of the marketing. So your primary objective, of course, for marketing your RAL is to increase exposure, communicate value, and generate those leads. And creating a brand identity is something that you really need to put a lot of thought into. People sometimes will come up with a business plan or a business idea, but they end up falling short on their brand identity. And this is something that you really need to have in order to establish your online presence overall. It's really important to include a CRM, which is a customer relationship management database to keep track of all of your leads coming in and to kind of measure your successes. It's an analytical tool as well, which is really important so that you know what your conversion rates are, for instance. And then conducting ongoing community outreach. And this, I can't stress enough, is so important. Again, a lot of our competition with RALs aren't doing the outreach. They're doing more word of mouth. People through their church, friends and family is kind of how they're getting most of their leads. But building relationships with long-term care and healthcare professionals is paramount. And as physicians, you are in the captain's seat to do this.
So, Jen, can I ask you about the CRM tools?
Yes, of course.
Recommendation and what do you find useful, and when should that? I mean, is that necessary? If you're just starting with one home, is this something that people need to be doing right away, or wait till they get a couple, or what's your recommendation on that?
So what I can tell you is a lot of RALs honestly kind of fall short when it comes to a CRM. And this is the old Rolodex, kind of, if you will. It is the way that you kind of prioritize, those leads that are coming in. And also, again, measuring, which leads are coming in from placement agents or which leads are the fruition of our community outreach. It's a good idea to have one as soon as you're able to. I wouldn't say it's absolutely a do or die, venture to start with, but they're not very expensive. And I feel like if you had a CRM to begin with, it just kind of organizes your business. And then that way, if say Jennifer is your community director or your, outreach liaison or whatever you want to call that person, and then I decide to move somewhere, the next person coming in would have no idea, no foundation on what I had been doing. So, and as an owner as well, and if you're investing and you've got, 5 homes, 2 homes, 1 home, whatever, you're able to go into that CRM as well and to kind of see what's going on. You can pull up campaigns, which are events that are coming up. So it just gives you a really nice kind of fly on the wall, if you will, into your business. So I would invest in one. Again, they're not very expensive and there are a lot out there. And that's something that if somebody wanted to talk about, we can kind of talk about the differences in some of them.
Yeah, so we use one called Monday, and later on I'll kind of talk about what we actually do on a weekly basis in our marketing calls. But I'll let you continue. So I'm going to go to the next slide, okay?
You got it. Thank you. So again, the importance of brand identity. So this is the name that's visible with all marketing elements of your RAL. That's going to help to identify and distinguish your brand in the consumer's minds. So you'll want to develop branding that tells the world who you are, what you're all about, and what people can expect from interacting with your business. The 5 pillars of brand identity are purpose. What's your main purpose? What do you want to do? Your positioning. How do you want to position yourself amongst all the other RALs out there? Your personality. Do you want it to be fun, activity driven? Do you want it to be, kind of slow and steady? Do you want to have a 10 bed, 10 bath, with a pool? I mean, what do you want that personality to kind of interject in people's minds? The perception, again, how do you want people to look at you? And then again, this perception, I just did a big trade show the other day, and everyone loved the fact, again, that we're physician owned. So the perception is top-notch care. That's what the first perception that people have. And your promotion, again, that is, how are you going to promote yourself? What are things that you're going to do with, anything from the colors that you use, the textures that you use in your website to keep people coming back to you. And I was reading a statistic that I thought was really interesting, and it's according to Entrepreneur Magazine, you have 8 seconds to hook your customers before their short attention span is whisked away. And this includes your website, your media post, your marketing material, everything from scrubs and uniforms, your embroidering, all the swag items that, swag that you're going to give away, your emails, your mail, and of course, I have to have a clothing budget for me as well. So those are really important.
Jennifer's
things.
always well dressed, if that's one thing you have to know about her.
I just think that, if you have to step up to the plate and you have to look your part. And with MD Senior Living, we're kind of a concierge RAL in a way that we expect certain things, and it's really nice. So we're really going to go to a nice uniform. And but that's really the important of having that continuity all across your marketing.
Should I go to the next slide?
You got it.
Wonderful.
So again, you want to establish your online presence, and you want to create a website that's persuasive, and you want to communicate value through the pictures and your galleries, which I like our website because we do that. And I always send everybody right to our website. The other thing that I do on any email that I send out on my signature line, it always has our website on there. So people will go, wow, this is really impressive. These homes are actually, you know, they're beautiful, and they like the pictures on the inside and out, and then pictures of everyday life. You can have, you know, just little floor plans on there if you wish. You can show the grounds, because that's really important to people when they're thinking about, you know, coming to visit mom or dad. And it's also important too, if you've got somebody that's coming into one of your RALs and say they have dementia, we want to make sure that with their sundowning that we've got an opportunity to get them outside. Now, again, I'm in Scottsdale, so we want a covered veranda. So sometimes those things they can imagine their families all gathering together to visit grandma or grandpa or aunt or uncle, your amenities, and your people. It's so important to show that, you know, the happy faces on the people that live there. Persuasive writing, you know, making sure that what you are saying is kind of painting a picture of ultimately, you know, your brand. What do you want people to walk away with after they read, you know, some of the writing and examples of what your home is, that narrative. Reviews and testimonials. This is so important to always ask families too, to review and to write testimonials, because, you know, when people, even though they don't know them, when they're coming to your website and they read those testimonials, it's a big deal. You know, it's kind of like going to a physician with health grade. You want to see what people are saying about you. Your blog, having an ongoing blog, even an interactive blog, is really nice because you want to keep people coming back to your website. And that's nice. And then also don't forget about social media, your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. And I think now Facebook is Meta and Twitter just changed to the X. So
something's so retarded. But let's not talk about that.
I know. I just thought, wait a minute, what is this? Where'd my little blue bird go?
But so just to so if you're not familiar, our website for our own homes is mdseniorliving.com, and we do pretty much all of these things that are on there. You know, we have a public Facebook post, but the only things that we don't do on there is obviously we're not posting pictures of our residents on there. Because of privacy issues. So we do have a blog that gets updated frequently. And I'll kind of show you also a few of the emails that we send out on a weekly basis to all the referral sources that we have. But a lot of this that Jennifer's talking about is absolutely vital. These are very easy to do. You can create your own website. You know, we started with a simple Squarespace, and then we got a little bit fancier and hired someone to actually make our site. But, you know, they're not very hard to do. They're little things, but, you know, when you look at the other homes around you in your area, you'll realize that so many of them don't have websites, or if they are, they're just terrible. So if you have one that's halfway decent, it goes a long way in terms of just marketing your home for very little.
That is so true. And, you know, with your website, you can do stock photos of, you know, of people. And I would really suggest, and I know that on our website, we've got a couple of stock photos too of physicians on there. And then, of course, we've got, you know, our leadership and our physicians with their bios, which is really impressive. People, they find a lot of comfort in that. So
yeah, the more, I mean, most of our pictures, I would say, are actually realistic pictures. You know, I would
yes, that's correct.
You know, we have pictures of each of the homes, like the homes with the bedrooms, you can actually see. Then we have like just a gallery of random hodgepodge of seniors doing stuff, activities and stuff like that. So again, if you're going to post those pictures, make sure you always get permission from the family before you do that, and from the resident. But anyway, I'll go to the next slide.
Very good. And then this just kind of goes back to that CRM again. We don't need to elaborate a lot on this, but again, it's just a tool for managing those leads and for those ongoing relationships with your clients and healthcare professionals. It also can track your calls. So if you worked in a large senior living community, they may have a metrics for you 50 calls a day. And this is just kind of a way to track that too. But for analytics, it's nice because you can kind of see, where are our outreach leads coming from? Are they coming from a skilled senior or skilled facility? Are they coming nursing facility? Are they coming from hospitals through their discharge planners? Where are they mostly coming from? And then you really want to kind of hone in and zero in on that, and definitely pinpoint where the majority of those leads are coming from, because that can actually save you a lot of money. Because placement agents, which it's kind of sweet and sour sauce with them. I don't like to say love and hate. But with them, they can be your bread and butter when you don't have leads coming in. But oftentimes too, we pay them 1 month's rent on, as their commission for doing that. But again, they serve a really, really important purpose. But on the flip side, it's so important for us to be doing business development management. And if you have many homes or more than 2 or 3, I would suggest having an outside BDM or business development manager as well. Okay, just kind of developing those relationships for you, and not relying on your website, word of mouth, walk-ins. You got to go find your business, and BDMs are a great way to do that. Okay. So developing a plan for your community outreach. It's like, how do you do this? It's not natural for a lot of people to kind of go out and cold call. But when you teach them how to do it, strategically, it takes a lot of the kind of, people are afraid to hear no oftentimes, but if it's a matter of knowing who to go to and being strategic in that planning. And then here I say, establish a primary market area, PMA, in your area that encompasses a 15-minute drive time radius. And people will say, well, why not 15 miles? And you could live in LA where, 15 miles can take you an hour. Or you can live in Scottsdale where 15 miles might actually take you 15 minutes. So we have to think about that, because when people are placing their loved ones, the location, I would say, and the price are the two things that are at the top of the family's minds. Well, how far is it? If it's going to take me an hour to get there, I may only visit my dad on Sundays. And if it's closer, I'll see him more. And, so it's just those considerations that really can ultimately lead to somebody staying in your home, or saying, gosh, it's just a little bit too far. I think we're going to move dad closer. Okay. Hosting events at your RAL or other locations is really important too. And you can do this with even hosting neighborhood events, because oftentimes you're not going to have signs out in front of your RAL that say MD Senior Living. You just kind of want to be in a nice neighborhood, kind of quietly doing your own thing. And oftentimes neighbors may notice cars coming and going, but they don't really know, who lives there. So, and how nice would it be if you lived, on Mockingbird Lane, and your mother needed, memory care, and then you found out there's a RAL right down the street. She could live right down the street, right next to you. That would be so nice and so much easier for you because you're not taking care of all of her needs. So now you have the mother-daughter relationship back. Sponsorships and co-marketing events are really important as well. So I might co-market with a home care agency who is saying, I go and visit, Lucy in her home and offer care, but gosh, she lives alone and she really needs to be in an adult care home or a RAL. So these co-market events can be really beneficial for both of us. Doing speaking engagements, seminars, networking events, very, very important. Church events are nice too, because oftentimes the parish or a church will let you set up a little table after, their services to talk about, and to hand out information on fall prevention, or to even offer doing a fall prevention free clinic in their home to go through and to see, what things that you might be able to take care of that would help them stay safer. And then health fairs and clubs are all very, very good places to do a trade show. Again, we just did one last Tuesday, and it was so successful. And it was for a placement agent, for their placement agencies, their national convention, basically. And even smaller groups for networking, spotlighting. So you can find all of these different groups within your area. And then your handouts and leave behinds, postings with information about your RAL are a great way to leave a great impression on generating those leads as well.
Awesome. Excellent stuff.
Very good. And then our educational objectives for community outreach. So many new clients and referrals either don't know about you yet or don't even understand their options when it comes to long-term care, or haven't even thought about their need for change until their need for change is completely apparent. We're kind of this bookend society a little bit, if you will, where we come up through the ranks, our kids are going off to school and off to college, and we're about to retire, and we think, oh, this is really nice. And then all of a sudden, mom and dad now are knocking on our door, or we're knocking on their door saying, what are you doing? You shouldn't be driving. So we have that real small window of time for ourselves. So that's the bookend. And so it's important to kind of talk to a lot of people, and you'll hear just in general conversations, your friends saying, oh my gosh, my dad was just diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So this is a great opportunity with those educational objectives to say, when is the right time to move a loved one? When is when? I hear that all the time. And how do you prepare for a move? How do you take dad's driver's license away? How do you work in tandem with this PCP to help them understand that they're really no longer safe for home? What's the cost of it? What are some of the financial resources that may be available to them, such as the VA aid and attendance? If dad or your family member served during wartime, they can actually receive up to, it's a little over $2,000 a month as an added benefit that a lot of people don't even know about. Even Medicaid, Medicare, how do you qualify for that for low income? And then what are some signs that could pose a danger to your loved one? And again, this kind of goes back to when you're at that church, when you're at the Silver Sneakers or the YMCA and you're doing a seminar and you offer to go to their house to do a walkthrough, we can see those dangers right off the bat that we know about, and simple things that they can add, like grab bars in the bathroom. There's a lot of different things that we know about. Rugs, are not always their best friend. They're trip hazards. And then what is sundowner syndrome and how does it present itself? And what are some things that you can do to mitigate sundowner syndrome? You know, just simple things like following light, you know, at night and not pulling the shade shut and not, you know, getting as much light into the seniors' world as we can. So some of our homes will start out with the veranda in the morning. Our North Scottsdale home is a prime example of this. If you're able to go to our website, there's a little veranda in the front for morning sun. And then in the evening, as the sun goes down, we move them to the back veranda. And there's been a huge change in what we see with their sleep patterns.
Fantastic. Love it.
And then again, building relationships with your long-term care and healthcare professionals is so important. This is where, as a physician, you would have kind of that golden key, if you will. Now, and I know people are, you know, maybe not opening their RALs up in the area of their practice, but that's still okay, because you can still develop those relationships and say, you know, hey, this is what we're doing. And you're going to have doctors and discharge planners and social workers, caseworkers, hospice, home care agencies that are going to feel way more confident in sending you those leads and those referrals. And then you can either drop in or schedule time. Now, dropping in on a case manager, social worker, director of nursing, discharge planners usually doesn't work. But what I say is, with your business development hat on, go in, grab the cards, say, hello, I'm Jennifer with MD Senior Living. I'm not going to bother you. I know how busy you are, but I would just like to gather information and the cards on your discharge planner, your DON, your social workers, so that I can call them and talk to them about, you know, our RAL, or, you know, our residential assisted living home. And they are always so eager to help. So just establish yourself as the go-to for RAL placements. And the nice thing is that you'll get a lot of professional referrals that are reciprocal here. So that's really important to understand as well.
Absolutely. And also, you know, if you're in the medical field, if you're a physician, it's not a big deal. We work with these people all the time. And in fact, I know that they're going to be thrilled that, you know, they have a physician that has a RAL, and they'll go directly to you than going to a placement agent. So there's no such thing as a Stark law violation. This is not medical. You're not putting them into a medical facility doing medical stuff. This is into a care home. There's no Stark violations or anything like that. So you can certainly get referrals from the hospital or clinics that you're working at. And in fact, it's a great way to serve your patients and turn them into residents.
You know, another thing I just want to mention that I was talking to Sentinel about recently was I visited a wonderful hospital just right here in Scottsdale, very well known. And when I was visiting with their DON and their discharge planners, I suggested that with our 11 homes, close to 2 of their facilities here in Scottsdale, they have people flying in from all over getting chemo and radiation treatments. And instead of staying in a hotel, if they're, say, it's a single person and they're flying in from Atlanta, say, for instance, and they don't have family, but there's no reason for them to stay in the hospital, and insurance will not allow them to stay in the hospital during that time. And if they went to a hotel, they still need that help. So to hire a home care agency 24/7 can be $20,000 a month. Very expensive. So what we discussed was turning a couple of our homes, our RALs, a couple of the rooms in there into respite care, which is huge. So now they're not signing a contract. They can respite with us. They've got the care with us. They're close to the facilities, said facilities, and it's a win-win. So we're really starting to foster these relationships. And I could only imagine that as a physician, these doors for you, no matter where you are in the country, would be wide open for you to do such a thing.
Oh, yeah. And we all know as physicians, like discharge planning is a huge thing for these hospitals, and especially case management and social workers to get people placed or basically out of the hospital, right? And if you're providing a huge solution to this problem, it's like, yeah, we'll take them. We'll take this. They'll come right to you. You'll fill your house up without having to go through placement agents and stuff like that, so huge benefit. And this whole respite thing is just icing on the cake, I feel.
Absolutely.
It's just a very creative thing. And honestly, I applaud like Jennifer for going through that route and figuring that out too, because that's not done. And a lot of people didn't realize that that's available out there. Here's the next slide, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So sound business opportunity that acts as a service to the community. So we are a service to the community. And when we think about this as an investment, it's not like we have something tangible to sell, because this is a service that is needed. There's something called the silver tsunami. And Cynthia probably knows the statistics on how many 65-year-old or how many people turn 65-year-old or 65 every day. It's like 10,000?
10,000.
I think it's 10,000.
Correct.
Which is crazy. And so when you think about this, we're just at the bottom of this huge, huge gold mine that is right in front of us. And things are going to change drastically in this industry. And if we can take the bull by the horn now and look at that, kind of that blue ocean strategy on how are we going to do things different and be the thought leader in this industry, I tell you what, as physicians, I think you guys are just going to pave the way for the RALs. So the things that RALs, they serve a very important function in an often difficult stage of life. We all know that. This is an opportunity to serve the community and its seniors as a beacon of hope in healthcare. And this is offering safety and security in a beautiful home, physician oversight, companionship. You have highly trained staff, care staff, which is great too, because as physicians, I think your expectation of your care staff is heightened for more of that concierge kind of service. We offer physical, emotional, spiritual, cognitive, and social stimulation, which our seniors need every single one of those firing every single day. Because if they're not, what happens is they become lonely and then they lose that thrive to survive. And we see this happen all the time. They get proper nutrition and hydration. They have fun activities and amenities that keep them engaged and that are fun. In a couple of our houses, we've got birds, which are really fun. I went and picked out some of the birds, and every time I go visit them, I turn on bird songs and they all go crazy, and it's so funny. New technologies, and Sinhill can talk about these technologies that are amazing, that I can without doubt tell you that other RALs are not offering.
Absolutely, and we'll keep going here, but yeah,
you got it.
Definitely. I mean, there's a lot of unique ways that, especially people in the medical industry and in general too. I mean, not all of these are unique to physicians or nurses or whatever. But it's like you can incorporate a lot of unique things that can cause your RAL to stand out from the competition. I mean, you really should be doing it for your residents' safety and well-being, but trust me, it's extra marketing piece that'll just bring dividends in many, many different ways.
Absolutely. Set you apart. And so age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. That was by Mark Twain, and these are my grandkids.
They're so adorable.
Penelope's on the right, Madden's on the left, and it was Penelope's 100th day in kindergarten, and so they had to dress up as a 100-year-old. And so I sprayed her hair silver and went to school, and nobody else in her class but 2 other people did it. And oh my gosh, that was the first time she ever looked at me cross-eyed. But we decided to dress Madden up as well since he was taking her to school. So that's it.
That's so wonderful. I love it. Let me see. They're so adorable. How old are they, you said?
This was a few years ago. So Penelope's 10 and Madden is 7.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said that I would mention a little bit about what we do in our marketing stuff. So one of the things we do every week is send out this email blast that goes to all our referral agents, placement agents, referral sources. And what it shows is like every week we basically show what our occupancy report is and what availability we have, which gives us, the homes that we have, the address. We have a little map that goes out with every single email, but it shows every single home and basically says, okay, which rooms are available? Is it a private bedroom with a private bath? Is it a shared room? Is it a shared bath? So this goes out and basically it puts it front and center for placement agents because they are inundated with placements. I mean, they get a lot of referrals, they get a lot of calls. So you want to be front and center. So this is one of the things that we do automatically through MailChimp. And so we have someone on our administrative team that puts this report together and gets it sent out every Monday almost automatically. This also ties in with our own CRM. So I was talking about, Jennifer was talking about the CRM and how useful it is. And every week on Friday morning, we get together and we do a group huddle virtually where we talk about, okay, what tours have come through, who's been giving us referrals. If that number has been dropping, then we can automatically say, okay, now we should start reaching out to XYZ placement agents and, maybe reestablishing the relationship and letting them know that, hey, we're still here. So what else do we do in those meetings, Jennifer?
We count our successes and our move-ins for the week, which is always fun. We talk about our occupancy, which Sinhill will know. I like the drum roll on that one because I love seeing that number go up every week. Makes me so happy. And we always talk about, we don't talk about challenges with our group. We talk about opportunities.
Right.
And those opportunities are ways for us to do things better because you know what? We're going to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. And those are great opportunities for us to say, you know what? We could have done that better. And what did we learn from this? So collectively on those calls on Fridays, I really enjoy those calls because we learn. It's a learning experience for us. And, and it's just so nice to talk about our new residents and then to have, our doctors actually go in and see our patient or our patients. They're not my patients, they're our residents. What am I saying? I think I'm a doctor. Oh my gosh, where's my white lab coat? But we it's an opportunity for the physicians to go in and to talk to the patients. And I will tell you firsthand, that is such a neat experience. It's wonderful. There's just nothing like that. And that is really, truly what makes MD Senior Living And physician-owned RALs so different and stand out in the industry.
Yeah, so I want you guys to
yeah.
like not shy away from that. Okay, so when Chloe asked about Stark, there is no Stark violation here. So let me make this clear. We don't accept Medicare. Medicare actually doesn't pay for assisted living. Medicaid can in certain cases, like for low income, but for the majority of these homes that you're going to have, it's going to be private pay, where these residents are paying, private pay as far as like outside of insurance. Now, there may be long-term care insurance that they may have, which we can use towards the room rates. So since it's private pay and you're not taking Medicare, it's not a violation in any way. So you can refer your own clinic patients to these things. Your current employer really shouldn't have anything to do with this, because this is your side hustle. In a way, it's like your side gig. It's your investment. So, they don't need to get involved. You're not practicing medicine. So if you have, I know some people have, what do you call it? The contract limitations. Forget the term, but you're not practicing medicine, even if you are physician owned and operated. So I want to make that distinction. You're marketing as a doctor owned RAL. That doesn't mean you're providing medical care. Now, in our group, we're trying to do things that other RAL homes don't, things like, health tech or RPM. But I mean, we don't even have to do it ourselves. We can always contract with a third party like mobile doctor service that can do that for us. So that's one way to get around that. You can offer these medical services without you having to be the house doctor. So I want to make that very clear. So it shouldn't really affect your contract, but definitely always get it reviewed by your attorney if you worry about those things. You do not need permission from your employer, so please don't give them any more. Don't give the administrator, like that just irks me. Like you do not need to be giving them power or authority over what you guys do, because trust me, you guys are far more advanced in terms of what you've learned and what went through than they have. So little spiel there. But let's see here. So any questions and answers, please ask it on the side. Chloe said you are supposed to disclose any outside venture, which is fine, but I mean, I don't think they need to be telling you what you should and shouldn't do, because trust me, they're going out and doing their own stuff, so they shouldn't be hand-holding you. Besides, this is purely protected by law. Senior housing is protected under Fair Housing Act and HUD. You're providing housing for seniors. It's actually discriminatory if you discriminate against them. So you don't have to look at it as saying, okay, well, I'm doing this solely thing. You're providing housing for seniors, which is protected by the law. So if push comes to shove, you always have that aspect. Are there any other questions before I wrap up here? And Jennifer, this was amazing. We loved it. We learned so much. Like I said, Jennifer only joined our team just a few months ago, and she has been amazing at what she has been doing. Our occupancy, I think, was around the 60s and 70s, but she's been pulling our numbers up. We have a goal of being at 95% across the board in about a month.
Get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we're going to absolutely get there. So we love it. So
thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. You got me saying that. That's her favorite term. Absolutely.
I say that all the time.
Jen, before I close up, was there anything that you wanted to wrap up or say?
No, just and how
can people get a hold of you if they wanted to get your help and expertise? They're opening their own RALs.
Yeah, if somebody wanted to get in contact with me, I can even help identify what a good marketing director is or business development manager is. And I don't know, can we put a link in the academy for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want your phone number too, or just the email?
Yeah, I can put my phone number if somebody wants to write it down. It is, my direct line is 480-868-7251. And my email is Jennifer, that's Jennifer, and the letter E for Ellsworth, at mdseniorliving.com.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure I post that as a link too.
Oh, thank you.
For the
Yeah, so I'm
replay.
happy to help out with whatever, any questions or, anything I can help with, please call.
But before we wrap up, Jennifer, thank you so much. We loved it. I appreciate it. And we're definitely going to have you back on again in the future, and we can talk more stuff. But
Absolutely.
I also want to talk a little bit about something exciting that we've been working on. So as you guys know, we also have a Reg D fund where, if we have opportunities that come up, we start to raise capital. We don't raise unless we have something big. And something big has actually come to our door. And what this is actually a larger scale assisted living facility. Now, you may be wondering, well, we've been talking about RALs. Why all of a sudden do you guys want to do larger scale commercial? And the reason is we also want to diversify our own portfolio, where we're looking at economies of scale and we're looking at different geographical areas. So this is a large group that's kind of done all the plans, the design, the architectural engineering to get to shovel-ready state for this project. I'm not going to get too much into it, but basically it's a large assisted living facility. It's about almost 100 beds. It's going to be in St. Charles County in St. Louis, Missouri. It's a brand new development out there. It's a master plan community. So we'll be having details about this shortly, but just to show you as a little teaser here, what some of the design looks like, the floor plan and all of that. But basically, we have our own investment fund where we have a portfolio of homes. So investors that join us would really be part of both of these residential assisted living homes, as well as a commercial assisted living facility. I'm going to kind of leave it at that. We'll give you more details along the way. But I want to thank you guys all for coming. Well, keep us in mind for that, and I appreciate you guys joining us.